got a special treat today. Going to be doing a quick interview with my colleagues, Charlie and Andrew. Guys, want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Charlie, as Jared said. I've been with Sobos for 4 years now. Pretty much similarly started when Andrew did, back in June of 2019. Worked my way up through a few different kind of areas, started as a BDR, now as an enterprise account executive here at Sobos. And yeah, been with the company ever since I graduated college in 2019.
Great, thanks Charlie.
Yeah, Andrew Sherrill. Similarly, started in June of 2019 as an intern and finished up my degree and then came back to Sobos full-time in January of 2020, so just before COVID hit, and I've been with the company ever since, worked my way up to the enterprise account executives team.
Great, and what inspired you guys to pursue a career in sales?
I think for me, honestly, starting out, I didn't really know that I wanted to go in sales. When I was in college, I was pretty open to kind of all opportunities. I had a few connections, one specifically at Sobos, an individual who worked on the marketing team. She kind of referred me. I interviewed here, learned a little bit more about the company, really thought that the business development representative role would be a good fit for me. It was kind of marketing, kind of sales. Ultimately, as I, worked my way through that role, and in about a year, realized I really gravitated more towards the sales aspect. I like being kind of in control of my own, successes, so to speak. And that's, kind of the route I took and been doing that ever since.
Yeah, for me, it was more of it kind of fills the competitive void that I have. I grew up playing a lot of sports and things like that, and now that I'm, out of college and everything, didn't really have a way to exercise that. So, similar to Charlie, again, I kind of stumbled into sales, wasn't necessarily planning on it, but started as a sales and marketing intern. Really took to it. I feel like it, again, kind of feeds that competitive fire and gives me the opportunity to sort of work out, all those competitive muscles that I have that are not utilized anymore. So that's kind of what brought me into sales, and what's keeping me here is just the company culture is phenomenal. I love working with these guys, and just have really enjoyed my time at Sobos so far.
Perfect. And we are in the world of technology here, selling tax software, so I'm sure technology is true to what you guys do on a day in, day out. How do you leverage technology to be successful?
I think fortunately for us, we have a really good technology stack. I'd say at Sobos, the business does a really good job at investing in that. I think we're a very forward-moving company, so there's always ways that they're looking to streamline, make things more efficient for us. So whether it's, cadences that we have automated or recordings of our prospecting client calls and kind of working through those for feedback and coaching and whatnot with our sales directors or just other team members. Constantly utilizing technology, to the fullest extent here.
I think it's also good for collaboration. So for instance, Charlie mentioned that we have calls recorded. You can listen to some of the more senior members of the team who are, doing some larger opportunities and a little bit more complex sales, and listen to how they're controlling those conversations, some of their talk tracks. So it's a really good opportunity to kind of cross-pollinate information when you don't necessarily have time to jump on 10 sales calls in a week. So I think that's where technology has been really useful in my role.
Great, and I know there's probably a lot of things that you guys have utilized over the years to be successful in terms of your own skill set. What would you say are three of the most important skills to have in the sales arena?
You want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I'll go back to competition. I think it's, for me personally, competition is more so within myself. So having that internal drive or competition, whatever you want to call it, with yourself to be accountable and to really understand that you have to have a process-driven approach and you have to take it day by day is super important. So the competition side of things is one. I think, kind of mentioned it there, but accountability is a second. I think nobody's gonna make you successful in sales besides yourself. There's a lot of collaboration that you can do. You can lean on your manager, you can lean on your teammates and business partners, but ultimately in sales, it comes down to the steps that you take in your personal role. So I think accountability is huge. And then time management is one that I've struggled a little bit with over the years, but I think it's also just extremely important. Again, you need to have a very process-driven approach. You need to know what you're going to do each day, because if you're failing to plan, you should plan to fail.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say just desire, motivation is a big one. Being in sales, you work for yourself, essentially, is kind of the way I always think of it. ultimately at the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for meeting my quota. No one's going to do that for me. So you need to be an individual who's motivated, can show up, stick to routines, form healthy habits. I think that's something that I've always had in myself, and then that's helped me succeed and excel in sales. Additionally, I think being proactive, that's something that's been huge. I've been in the position where I've been on the account management side as well as the new logo side. I think proactivity really helps build good relationships with customers, with prospects. When you can form, a good relationship with them, that leads, successes in the future, whether it's building on that previous relationship or previous conversation you've had with somebody. I think ultimately that really, speaks volumes for itself. So kind of desire, motivation, and proactivity, I would say, are my three.
Perfect. Thanks, Charlie. And you just mentioned motivation. I'm gonna point at that one more time here. When it comes to your role and how do you able to kind of get through challenging times and stay motivated and kind of keep everything going?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, in sales, you have slumps where, you might have really successful months and really down months. So I think it's just keeping in the back of your mind, knowing that just because maybe you've had an off month, that doesn't dictate the rest of the year for you. We are in a very cyclical business, I'd say, where it's pretty typical for us to have really, great quarters, and then the next quarter we may not close a lot of business. So it's just keeping in mind kind of that future outlook. For me, it's I always try to work backwards from my quota. So just trying to find, what are the pieces I need to do to get where I need to be? What are the metrics I need to be at? What do I need to do today on a day, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis to meet those goals? And just knowing that I've been in sales for a while now, things always, I think, work out in the long run, whether you're having not the greatest month or so. I think, eventually you get to there. All the hard work you've been putting in does pay off in the future.
Yeah, I think I've said it already a couple times, but just being process oriented is really the biggest thing. Not kind of leaning on all the results and everything and looking at, what number can I attain this month, but focusing on what am I going to do today that's going to push me toward my quota and push me further toward my number. And really focusing on that, which you can control day to day, is what gets me through some of the leaner times. So for me personally, it's just taking that process driven approach and knowing that the results will come.
Great. And final question, if you had to tell somebody that's thinking about sales why they should do it, what would you tell them?
I would say, even if you don't think you'll like it, just try it. Give it a shot, because I think it tests you in a lot of ways as a person, in addition to just being a professional. I think it's really a beneficial challenge that'll bring out the competitive spirit in you, the accountability, the understanding that you're your best friend in this role. You have to, again, take that approach, make your calls every day, be really strict with your time management. And I think it teaches you a lot of lessons that you can translate to the rest of your life. So even if it's not for you and you ultimately decide that you don't want to be a career salesperson, I think it's still a really good experience to try.
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think even if you don't know if you want to go into sales, give it a try, because you learn so much about yourself. I think it's similar to what Andrew was saying, but you'll learn whether it is for you really quickly or if it's not. And I think ultimately, both of us probably learned right out of college that this was something that, we enjoyed doing. We enjoy kind of having our own book of business that we manage. If you like that autonomy, I think it's a great opportunity. Also, I think it just translates into so many other areas. If you want to move out of sales in the future, if you want to go into leadership, if you want to go into marketing or kind of the operations side, I think sales gives you a really broad perspective of the organization, since we interact with so many different business partners all the time. So we get to see firsthand what they do, what their jobs are like. I've seen plenty of people in sales continue up that ladder. I've seen plenty of people kind of, venture off into different areas, even staying within, the current company. So you learn a lot about yourself quickly, and I think really kind of helps determine, what your path is, even if that isn't in sales.
Perfect. Well, thanks for answering all the questions on the fly here, guys. Great insights coming from two respectable individuals that went from the BDR role early in their career all the way up to an account executive role here where we're at now. Appreciate everybody's time, and for the folks listening in, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it provided some insights into kind of what sales looks like, and appreciate everyone for listening in. Thank you.